What's up, guys? This is part 2 of our fitting video that we got done at the doghouse. In this episode, we are going to dive into the numbers and narrow down which clubs were fit perfect for my swing. Take care, guys. As always, stay tuned. Next week, we got another video dropping. Like and subscribe. Peace!
That's the first shaft you tried in the Shrixon. Same one.
I love how like each iron, like an iron's an iron, they all look like not that they all look the same, but every company has to do like their own
footprint. Like
it's just crazy to see.
Yeah. Well, it's no different than cars. I mean, every car
Exactly.
has
That's
their
true.
own thing. Like what a Dodge Challenger and
The body looks like
a Ford Mustang look like, kind of just by how they look from up the road. Or how they sound.
that felt good. Like it feels perfect, like not perfectly balanced, but it feels like it has the weight,
Yeah.
but it has like that
solid
Yeah.
kind of feel to it. Yeah. I personally think it's going to be between these and the Shrixon. But yeah, get a decent sample there. Then we'll take a look at the charts for all those clubs we hit. Probably kick 3 or 4 of them out. And then our job gets easier from there.
it's hard not to try to want to correct.
Yeah, you just got to kind of autopilot.
What's going? Yeah. So I know not to try to fix the swing.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna start throwing everything off.
But the nice part is now we're seeing a consistent flight every shot. Like we've tried 4 different irons, like random shaft setups, and every single shot's that high fade. And we speak the chunk hook into existence, but it's like consistency is more important than like what you actually want to see. Like if you're just like flagging everything,
you would realistically you want to be perfect every time.
Yeah, but then everybody be a professional,
Exactly.
and then there wouldn't be professional golf. Like that's just everybody's the same.
Yeah.
But if you're hitting the same shot, even if it's ugly, at least you know what's happening and it's easy to predict.
You have to
and play
work
for.
You have to work with what you.
Yeah, but if you're aiming at a flag stick and you're like, okay, so there's a 50% chance I pull hook this 30 left and a 50% chance I'm going to push fade it right. Like, how do you make a good swing? You're just sitting there like quivering over every single shot. Whereas if you know it's going to fade right every time, you can aim 20 yards left, close your eyes, swing, and it's going to end up somewhere near the green.
Closer than what
time.
you would have did before.
And then you've got a chance to at least get it around into a decent score. And if you guys have played with like some good players, that's the thing that's eye-opening. They'll miss hit just as many shots as you. You just don't know. They hit it beside the green. You're like, oh, good shot. Like that's pretty good. Meanwhile, they hit it 3 grooves thin.
They were aiming
and
they were
like
aiming.
whiffed the shit out of it. But then they hit it in a spot where it's just like no big deal. Chip it to 2 feet, tap it in, make par, and you're like, oh yeah, nice hole. And they're like, God, they're still steaming that they missed it.
Yes.
But you just don't know. You don't have to have a really good shot pattern to be good at golf. You got to just have a very predictable one. All right. Let's go through some of this stuff. We'll go through this whole thing. So we're going to start with just ball flight in general. So ideally, we want to see tight groupings with as much height as possible. Like when you're trying to get balls to stop on a green, we want it airborne and not a lot of curve. If there is curve, we want it in the same direction and as minimal as possible. It's easy to predict. If the ball's moving a lot, this is why throwing a breaking ball in baseball is kind of tricky, because if you can't control exactly how much it curves, you can't really pinpoint where it's going to cross the plate. So like if one time you throw a slider, it breaks 4 inches, and the next time it breaks 14, and you don't know which one's coming, one's a hanger that gets hit into next year, and the next one's a strikeout pitch.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in golf. Like if you know it's going to curve 7 yards on average every time, you can aim 7 yards left and hit it. But if you know it goes 7, 7, 7, 50, you don't really know what
you
to
want
play
to eliminate
for.
that.
You don't want to aim 25 yards left to play for the big miss, because now all your good shots miss left.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's sort of the math behind it, or the simplified math. So
This is what's been a big thing now. Like I said, the end
Right.
of that half of last year has been doing that. Is like short side of the green, just aim the middle of the green, right?
Yeah.
Because like chances are you're gonna end up short.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
Just doing stuff like that, knowing what shots coming.
So immediately going from your gamer, which you got a little bit of sporadicness, immediately tightens up.
That's it.
That's the Strixon. That's the first one. Then we went to the Titleist, which we're going to veto because you just weren't making good contact. But again, straight. Then we started getting into the P790, which again, probably vetoing, just weren't hitting it well. But we're getting consistent ball flights to the right. Again, some of this is going to be like mechanics driven, not so much clubs. And then this was the Mura, same thing, really consistent ball flight. And then this was the Ping, same thing, consistent ball flight. We got one bad one in there, but we're getting high fades out of these last few setups. The Strixon, though, is the one that was really, really steady right out of the gate. Like super straight, good distance, good ball flight, felt solid right away. So we're going to go back and we're going to test a couple shafts with the Strixon and that Ping setup to see. As far as
one, I did like the Ping one.
As far as distance and stuff goes, like there's not a huge difference between many of these. So like your gamer, you're kind of like right around 180 carry. Strixon's the same, 179, whatever. The Titleist we vetoed, the 790 we're going to veto. The Mura was short. It was just really spinny. So same thing, just probably not going to work in terms of the characteristics of your swing. Probably just a little too much spin. Like outside, this thing's going to be just a floaty, powder puff in the wind. And then with the Ping, again, a lot of mishits in there, and same thing, kind of spinny and short. But I think that with a different shaft setup, we might be able to make that work for you. But so far, the Strixon is winning the race in terms of we getting good spin, good speed.
And you know what? Distance. I've done not that I've done a lot of research into like irons, but they're known for being one of the better for, I guess, an amateur golfer.
Yeah, they're the lowest spinning heads on the planet. Don't know why. No one knows why. for whatever reason, like if we take this head and we take Titleist, CB, and all these, like they're basically the same club from a different manufacturer. These things spin like 1,000 RPMs less for everyone. Like it doesn't make any sense. Don't know why. It's like some special steel they got over there in Japan that, So there's a cool feature on this machine that shows like how good your ball flight is, essentially, like how optimized it is. So again, the only thing we're looking at for that's going to not be in these blue ranges, obviously the blue range is the happy range for this, is going to be spin. We want it to be like about 600 RPMs low. If we add 600 to this, you're right in the middle.
Okay.
So this would be perfect outside.
Okay.
Like perfect spin.
And this is the Strixon?
And this is the Strixon. Now if we look at your gamer, and we pick, I don't know, one of the hot ones you hit out of here, it's going to say it's really good. The problem is we know it's good when it's good. We just don't know whether it's going to fly 190 or like
exactly,
230 or 150,
and
or how left or right it is, right?
Those happen, yeah.
And the problem here is like this is off of artificial turf, so we know the spin, if we add 600 or 800 to it, it's now going to be too high, and then you get those floaty balloons, and then when you get in the rough and you get a huge spin reduction, you hit it 30 yards further.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to avoid. We want to keep spin as tight as possible. That's where you don't get the jumpers. And then obviously the left and right dispersion is what we're looking for.
This is crazy. I like this.
Makes sense? So yeah, like from a pure, like math, like how far can you hit it? Yours are awesome, but there's way more to golf than how far you hit, especially when you're fast. Yeah.
That's why I don't really I barely game with the driver anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's very few PGA Tour pros that hit 7-iron more than 190 stock.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Like there's some guys that are fast as hell and they're like 7-irons like 182 carry stock. Like sure they can hammer draw.
Yeah, it's what you
want, like no problem.
You need to control it,
yeah,
right?
But it's having enough spin to get a ball to stop. But like you don't want so much that when you have like 10K in your face, you have to club up twice. It's just hard to commit to it. You have 5-iron, you're 190 out. You can hit a 240 if you nuke it. Well, good luck trying to make a good swing.
So obviously, when I get the new clubs, I have to commit into like a whole gap thing.
You're gonna have, I mean, and even that's not gonna do so much. You just have to play a lot with them. Like you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna pull 8-iron when you should have hit 6-iron.
It's gonna be a big learn, not a big learn, but
you're
gonna have to keep doing it.
Yeah, especially because this is gonna be your first set of like, quote unquote good golf clubs, like players clubs that are designed for more consistency and less like just like juice it up and hit it forever. Which is
that's what I was saying. Like even when I started golf, I always said like I wanted to get good to not good, but like I wanted to know what I was doing before I started upgrading.
So yeah, we're gonna go Strixon with the that shaft. So we'll just trade these bad boys out. And then if you're hitting this thing good still, it's probably going to be these Strixons, realistically, as far as like what we've got in here that you will go with. Which as soon as I saw you warm up and I saw how much spin you created, I was pretty much like, yeah, we're going to probably end up in these.
You kind of had already a general.
Well, it's just, I don't know, like again, I don't know why, and I can't find anyone that knows why. Why do these things spin 1,000 less? Same lofts too. Like it's like it doesn't even matter what you do. Like these aren't even super strong lofts. Like if you reduce the loft on these things, you probably bang down the spin even more.
So this is the shaft that was just on the ping?
Yeah, on the ping, but the Strixon head that we started with. So vetoed those bad boys.
We're good to go?
Yes, sir. Fire when ready. This thing sounds so good, though. Oh
it does.
God.
It feels it just feels really good.
Good swing there, man. That's a beauty there. Yeah, so like basically like the way ball flight works at a very simple level is you can either convert your club speed into spin or ball speed, but never both. So the more ball speed you gain, like from a club that's the same, the less it's going to spin. So when you go to driver versus 3-wood, the big difference is just the loft goes up, and a lot of that energy that's converted into either spin or ball speed changes. That ratio changes.
Yes.
So you get more ball speed out of a driver and less spin, in theory.
Yeah.
With these, you know, we're basically trying to reduce spin. We're going to reduce ball speed because they're just not designed to go as fast.
But you just want the optimal.
But yeah, you want to try. We're trying to bring that a little closer, and this is where you're going to gain some consistency in terms of the ball doesn't just spin a ton or spin none. It'll be in the middle somewhere all the time, and it doesn't have that crazy jump in ball speed. Like you were getting 138 on some of your 7-irons with your gamer. That's insanity. Like that's so fast.
You know what? Crazy. Yeah, I like, but just it didn't like. Yeah, they felt good because I was using their like my gamer, but like
for four
putting these now, this feels like night and day. 100%. This is crazy.
Yeah. So you'll probably lose distance overall on these, like half a club maybe. Depends. You might get some of it back when you get comfortable with
this
them.
window.
But like the disparity changes. Like if you have one that carries 220, the next one's not going to carry 180. Whereas this thing's going to be like 182, 184, 187, 176.
Yes,
yes. You're not going to have that huge,
not so much of a guessing
jumper between
which one's
one.
coming.
Yeah.
It's almost like a game of roulette.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to end up, partner.
Yeah, this feels...
So I'm going to go back to the shaft that you tried first, and then we're going to check some lie angle stuff. For grips, you just have standard size grips on
yeah, you know what? Actually, these ones that just got sent, I feel like these are a little bit bigger, thicker maybe. Do they not feel?
Actually, they do.
Well, there's a reason why they're the #1 most popular golf brand, right?
So,
and these do look nice.
They're super good. And not many people have them, which is kind of cool.
I like how it's like edged at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, so this is strictly going to come down to feel realistically. I personally think you're probably going to like this better.
One. I feel that one.
Yeah.
Like the Strixon head. But what would be the difference in the shaft? Like I don't want to.
That one's slightly heavier, and it's probably going to perform slightly better for you, just the way you swing. Because again, you don't have any issues getting the thing in the air. It's the lowest launching option of anything we've tried. So it's just going to help kind of combat that natural tendency to go up and right by keeping the ball down a little bit. But again, it's not all about performance, right? Like if you like the feel of something, you're gonna gravitate towards it anyway. Because I played both of these shafts in different setups. So like this shaft, I played in the previous 2 or 3 sets of irons I had, the one that I have in my hand right now. But then when I got my Muras, I hated how this shaft felt in it, and I went with the shaft that you have currently. So it's really just personal preference.
I feel like this one is not clunky, but like the way that one feels.
Okay, let's throw it right back in.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this is it feels nicer. I know, like I got.
Yeah, that's fine. But,
but this feels.
Okay, that's
feels
the best
nicer,
one.
yeah.
All right. So a couple things to do. So we're just going to do lie angle. Length I'm not going to touch because you played standard length. You're not 6'7". Like there's no real need to just like, oh yeah, you have to play longer clubs or anything like that.
Okay.
There's no need to change. We'll do a lie angle check to make sure that we get the right lie angle. I don't think you're going to be super one way or the other from what I've seen. It'll just be kind of a tweak. And then set makeup will be the last kind of piece there. But so this is kind of an old school test, but there's a couple of things I'm going to end up doing here at the same time. To tape, it marks when you hit it off of a piece of plastic, basically, and it shows you where the sole actually hits the ground.
Ah.
So this, I don't really love this. I do it just for the sake of simplicity, but I do a couple things at once. So this is one. The second one is I put a line on a golf ball in Sharpie, and we hit it, and it leaves a little mark on the face. If it's level, we know the lie angle is correct. If it's tilted, we know the lie angle is incorrect.
Okay.
We obviously want the ball to come off. Like if we're hitting it with a square club face, we want the line to be dead level. If it's not, the face isn't actually square. If you tilt a golf club like this or this, right? Like if I'm like this, well, the club face is 30 degrees closed right now because there's 30 degrees aloft.
So I noticed I do that with my driving iron. Right. When I have them, I mark like a really long black line.
Right.
And I notice it when I hit, and then I look at the club. And
right.
I see
And
it
it's
on
like
there.
all cockeyed. So I'll give you that. I need to find a Sharpie.
This feels so weird.
Yeah, don't be weird. Don't be scared of it. It'd be a little loud, but it doesn't do anything to you. Flushed it. All right, let's see that bad boy. Yeah, so as I kind of figured. So well in the toe. Okay. And this is partially you probably fighting your old clubs to some degree, where like you're trying not to hit them left, so you'll do stuff like this to try and keep the thing from shutting down.
Okay.
This is something that obviously
I see. Like now, this is gonna like
100%.
Yeah.
So this is saying like basically 3 degrees upright, which is what the computer was saying too when I was looking at it.
Okay.
As far as like lie angle and whatnot. I'm gonna do one more just to be sure, but yeah, I'm assuming the line was a little more level, but that's because you slammed it in the heel. So this explains the heel strikes as well. Okay, nice. All right, same spot.
Yeah,
similar. Yeah, so a little bit better. But I mean, again, if we did a bunch of them, there'd be any variance from there to there. Now, this is optional. I personally think that if you're planning on getting some instruction, you'll be able to correct this without having to adjust the
tamper
clubs.
with the club.
It's not a huge deal, and most people, myself included, if I was to hop on the slide board right now, I'd be about there. I would not be in the stone center of the head.
Okay.
Because I just hate to hit it left. And anytime you get marks in the heel, that typically pivots the club shut. Like if the heel hits the ground,
it's
going to turn. If the toe does, though, it just opens a little bit, which to me, it's just easier to control. Personal preference, but I don't think without a little bit of work, we can't move that toe strike to like the 1 degree range. And if we still don't like it, it's an easy adjustment. These are easy to bend. I don't think I would order them in a different line.
No, yeah.
Even though it's not a correct
do a couple lessons, then if anything, you do this again and see where that line is.
100%.
Yes, yeah.
That's what I think. Just because of the nature of your swing, there's definitely some things I would tweak
I 100%
to move it, opposed
agree.
to like just band-aid the clubs and then you have to pay to get them bent back when we already know that's where it's going to end up. So that makes sense. And if we're wrong, we're wrong, and we just bend.
No, you're 100% right. Like I've never had a lesson, so like anything.
I wouldn't do that, even though like it says like we should do that. If that makes sense. Like you'll be able to play with them right away, and not like be all end all, but you'll only hit them better once we start making the tweak that gets that interaction to work.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's it, my man.
Where can everyone find you?
Okay, so I'm Ben. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. That's probably it, I guess. But yeah, it's just Ben Groome Golf. So I primarily do coaching, so I just do lessons and stuff, but I do fittings here at Doghouse Golf for Max. We go way back, so it's kind of a one-stop shop here where we got lessons, custom club building, club fitting. We do it all.
Perfect. That's good.
All right, guys, that does it for this week's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Ben, great guy. Link for him and Doghouse are down in the descriptions, as well as, as always, like and subscribe. We'll see you next week for another video. Peace.